Hello, everybody, and welcome to Short Pit, a NASCAR podcast. I'm your host, Kaleb and Chesney. Alongside me, right on top there, is my buddy Chris Prince of Belly Up Sports. Me and you both. Chris, how are you?
Good, man. Good. How about yourself?
Just peachy. It'd be doing a lot better if our website was actually working, but that's neither
Yeah.
here nor there.
Sad.
Below us, we have BR and Cam. We have been doing this podcast since the start of the season. I don't know how many episodes we're in now. Like, it got to be 9 or 10 at this point, right?
Something like that. We're closing
Yeah.
in on it.
I think this is race 8, so it'd be 9 total, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep, a lot of fun. A lot of fun had so far. We just coming off a throwback weekend at Darlington. Denny Hamlin gets his second win in the Carl Edwards Sports Clip Throwback. Unfortunately, he did not attempt the backflip. So a little bit of points lost there, but he goes and wins at Darlington. We're going to talk about that race. We'll talk about our drivers of the week, our terrors of the week, our thoughts on Throwback Weekend as a whole, whether they should continue it, whether it's run its course, whether we're beating a dead horse. You know, some drivers had some pretty strong opinions that we'll get into. And then we'll preview Bristol in a quick 45-minute to an hour fashion. Like to keep it short, hence the title of the podcast, Short Pit. So let's just go ahead and dive right into this. BR, I'm going to lead off with you, man. How did you feel about this Darlington race?
Oh, I mean, by the end, it got pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah, if only your driver didn't run into the back of a guy 160 laps down.
Not his fault. He checked up, but whatever. Anyways, yeah, but that the drives by Byron to start and then Blaney at the end was something to see. And then, give Hamlin credit. He took advantage of an opportunity that was handed to him. Got another win. Yeah, I mean, but by the end, yeah, it got pretty exciting. I enjoyed watching it.
Cam, what say you?
I mean, it was a typical kind of, I don't know, next-gen race in a way. I mean, for most of the race, it was kind of boring, I mean, to an extent, but it's a weird combination where it's like the teams, and yeah, I mean, it's true, the tires still matter because it's Darlington, but it's like, it seemed like there was only one guy all day that could pass the leader, and he did it for like 3 seconds before the aforementioned incident happened. So I don't know. I mean, it's still Darlington. It's still, the driver's track of driver's track. It's, your car's not gonna carry you at this place. But I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not in my top 20 or 30 Darlington races I've ever seen, but it wasn't bad. Like BR said, the Blaney's drive through the field and then Byron's dominance made it for, the storyline. But in terms of the actual racing, I didn't think there was a ton to write home about.
Chris, how did you vote on Jeff Gluck's Is This a Good Race poll?
Yeah, I mean, I think I voted yes, but just for the reasons that BR and Cam touched on. Like, you don't see the storylines came from Byron just literally laying the belt to ass the first 2 stages. It seemed like he had the better car in clean air, but I think that's kind of like Cam said in a way too, the next gen era. And it's
243 laps led, finishing P1 and P1 in both the stages. He just kind of looked like an unstoppable force out there.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it too. Just once he got away on the restarts, that where he was up front, his car was just the best. But yeah, I mean, it was Darlington, driver's track. So I mean, and Denny was able to take advantage of his pit crew. The Jackman's new technique that was talked about.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see. That I couldn't do it. I'm not coordinated enough. So, but I mean, Denny did what Denny does and was able to win at Darlington. So definitely.
Unfortunately, Blaney's Jackman couldn't quite get the car up, costing him a couple of spots on pit road. But God, Denny got out of there so quick. It was just like I felt like he had that race won as soon as he came off pit road. But yeah, me personally, I voted no on This Is a Good Race, not because it was a terrible race. I just and again, I passively usually vote yes, but this one, I was just struggling to stay awake on the couch, because there wasn't a whole lot of interesting things going on with Byron leading 243 laps. And then when the Keselowski caution came out that we'll talk about maybe on the Terrorist of the Week segment. I don't know. Totally shook it up, and from there on out, the third stage was pretty interesting. But overall, like you guys said, not a ton to write home about. If Byron had finished the epic, what they were calling on the teardown, a perfect race, that certainly would have been something to write home about. But 243 laps finish in P2 is nothing to scoff at by any means. So yeah, Chris, I'll let you decide where we go with this next. We have a couple options here. We can give William Byron his flowers. We can criticize some drivers for their takes on Throwback Weekend, or we can talk about the Kellogg's curse.
Yeah, that Kellogg's curse is real. But yeah, let's talk about this Throwback Weekend before we actually talk a little more about the race, because comments were made by drivers. My driver,
Mine too.
Yeah. So 2 of our drivers here on the show made some comments.
Okay, let me just pull up what Chase Elliott said. Sorry. Before the race on, I believe it was Saturday, maybe before qualifying.
Yeah, I think so.
Elliott had a question about Throwback Weekend, and he says, "I feel it got old 4 to 5 years ago. Not to be a downer." Oh, Chase, you'd never do that.
Never.
If we kept doing it down the road, we're going to be throwing it back to me in 2018. I think we've rode that horse to death. That is one NASCAR's most popular driver, Chase Elliott, his teammate, William Byron, in the same similar media availability. He says it's definitely run its course. I feel like between 40 cars, you cover most of the paint schemes at some point. I think maybe it's something you bring back every few years. Maybe it's just getting a bit repetitive. And then BR, your boy, Bubba Wallace, had this to say: for me, it's run its course. That doesn't mean it needs to stop. I'm just on the side of we don't need to participate. And obviously the 23 team did not participate. Now, before we get into the comments and given the opinions, there was one driver who had a different perspective. That would be one driver of the number 6, Brad Keselowski, who didn't have a throwback paint scheme, I don't believe.
No.
He wrote, "I went to the merchandise hauler just now where it hit me. Seeing the fans all dressed up in older gear reminded me Throwback Weekend is much bigger than paint schemes. This weekend connects new and old fans to our sports history in multiple meaningful ways for everyone to enjoy. I understand the frustrations of trying to execute a great scheme, but also think we should be careful not to dismiss the fans that absolutely love this race." Now, Chris, I started with you. I'm going to keep it with you. Where do you land on this side of the fence? What do you think of your boy Chase Elliott kind of pissing on the parade? You go for it. The table's yours.
Stupid comment, I mean, in a feeling, but maybe he's a little butthurt because his scheme wasn't the best looking of his,
No, that's true.
Teammates there. But I can maybe almost a little see where they're coming from. But again, kind of like Bubba said, it's not something that needs to go away just because they feel like that, right? It connects different generations of fans. It allows all the generations of fans to come together and, talk about different things, not just the current drivers that we pull for. So definitely don't agree with the comment that it needs to maybe be, gone. But I digress because I don't have a say-so. I just don't think it's great either for the most popular driver in the sport to say something like that, because it, like Brad kind of said, it kind of does crap on the fans a little bit because the fans love it. So
reading into it, my driver also had a take on it, Alex Bowman. He told Front Stretch in that similar media availability, the small teams probably do it the best, he told Front Stretch, but they also have a little bit more freedom. It sucks to see some people say, oh, that's a weak attempt, or, oh, you guys didn't put anything into this, because they don't have the clue about what all goes in to get stuff approved. It's tough, right? There's only so many schemes that you're going to get approved with colors and branding. The pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I think Throwback Weekend's awesome, but it's just hard to get it perfect every time. We're 10 years into it. We're narrowing down the pool quite a bit. So way to ride the fence there, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Ally's done a pretty good job with their throwbacks the last couple of years for sure. I love the regular Jimmy throwback with the blue and the yellow. And this week's I thought was awesome until it hit the wall and broke a toe link. But that's neither here nor there. Cam, what's your take on Throwback Weekend, the paint schemes, the whole thing?
I mean, I understand where the drivers are coming from to an extent, maybe more than maybe some people do. I mean, I understand that, like, between trying to clear things with sponsors, trying to throw things together, etc. It's just another thing they have to deal with rather than focusing on the race and the thing at hand. But at the same time, it's kind of tone deaf in a way, because it's like you have a sport that's been bleeding fans for years. You have a sport that's been bleeding ratings for years, at best stagnating, and you're trying to get rid of something like maybe the most like popular event that you do on the calendar year. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it might be an annoyance to a lot of those drivers, and that's fine. And we've always had people who certain cars who don't participate every year. We've never had everybody participate in one year. That's fine. But like, trying to get rid of it is that it's just, there's just no reason to do that when it's so wildly popular in a sport that is begging for things to be wildly popular.
BR, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Chris and Cam. My thing is like, if you don't have a scheme you like, okay, cool. Just don't have a throwback scheme. Like, there's nobody. I feel like I kind of like. Okay, not to, up my driver, because I don't agree with what he said to an extent, but like, just don't participate if you aren't a fan of it. It just feels like you're hating fun for the sake of hating fun. I don't get it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Brad said. This is more about the fans in the stands than it is the drivers themselves and the guys who are making the paint schemes. If they want to participate, that's all fine and dandy, and you just kind of leave it at that, I think. And there's no real rules on if you have to have a paint scheme or not. People do whatever the hell they want. And ultimately, I think the guys who tried outside of the 9 team, most of them turned out pretty interesting and pretty cool. And yeah, I'm pretty okay with where it's at now. The throwback scheme is more. The throwback weekend is more than just the paint schemes on the cars. It's the old drivers coming to the track and doing their availability, talking to fans, et cetera, et cetera. It's an old track. It's a historic track. It's just the whole thing combined truly is the throwback weekend. And yeah, I don't think that there's a huge controversy here, but I just felt like it was some weird comments from the drivers that we pulled. I'm sure that there was more that we just didn't get to.
Yeah,
but
I told my wife too. I mean, as a Chase fan, the thing is, like, if you come to me and you're like, "Oh, this is the new Universe scheme for the year," right? I look at that scheme and I'm probably okay with it. But the fact that they tried to throw it as a throwback, it just, in my opinion, didn't really relate. Maybe the colors.
It felt like they phoned it in a little.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't relate to me. It didn't feel, like an accurate attempt. Maybe the color schemes were there, but still, maybe change your number font or something like that. They left everything basically the same on the car. Nothing was really thrown back other than the scheme, the paint scheme, I guess you could say, the colors.
Yeah, I don't buy the argument that it's so hard to get things cleared when you're like a big team or whatever. Hendrick whipped out 3 great schemes, and even though they did whatever the 9 team did, it still was supposedly a throwback that they approved, and usually all 4 of those cars do. Penske put out. You could argue Penske's 3 throwbacks were, as a collective, the best throwbacks in the garage, and they had no problem getting them approved. JGR had no problem getting the Sports Clips and the DeWalt ones approved. Like, I don't buy that argument.
Did Briscoe do anything?
No.
It's unfortunate. But
I
don't know how many. I obviously only caught the last 2 years of Truex, so I don't know how many like cool paint schemes he had back in the day. But
I mean, but the thing is, it's not hard to do because he has the same sponsor. Like, even if it's not cool, it's really easy to do.
So yeah, that's your throwback weekend gist of it.
Random idea that popped into my head.
Shoot.
2311 next year for their throwbacks, they shouldn't throw it back. They shouldn't throw it back to cars. They should throw it back to the Jordan shoes.
It's a pretty solid idea.
Actually.
I think Reddick's had has already had.
Reddick's
Yeah.
done a couple of those. Yeah.
But like,
So
it was like newer ones, but like.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that the idea is already there. It wouldn't even take much effort. Was my point.
Oh, fair enough. My bad.
Alrighty, Cam. I'll let you pick the next one. Do we want to talk about the Kellogg curse or Byron putting belt to ass on the field?
We'll go with Byron because I feel like the Kellogg thing doesn't take much to talk about, really.
No, it's a fun gag.
But I mean, in terms of the Byron thing, I mean, his car was great. Obviously, but I was just clean air doing clean air things. I mean, as soon as he was in traffic, he was still a good car. But like they were showing the lap times pretty much every lap at the end of that run when Blaney was like erasing a 20-second deficit. You kept seeing the lap times. I mean, they were great and competitive, but they weren't amazing once he got into dirty air. I mean, it was historic, and it very well could have remained historic had he not had he come out of the pits correctly on that last green flag cycle. But no, I mean, I say that like it's easy but that doesn't happen. So it's still commendable that they were that fast and they were able to stay out in front. If it was that easy, everyone would do it. But yeah, I mean, we're always liable to see that. If you have a car that's hooked up and starts from the pole with this car, you're always liable to see some guy just stay out there.
BR, how about you? What do you think of Byron's performance on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, he did get lucky that one is like early in stage 3, I believe it was, like with the caution as they were starting the green flag cycle and such. So yeah, so there's some luck involved, but like Cam said, if it was easy, everyone would do it. But respectfully to him, I'm glad it didn't continue because it made it a lot more interesting to watch as a fan.
Chris.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to add than what BR and Cam did, but I mean, I thought he was going to pull an Martin Truex Jr. at the Coke 600 back before the next gen car. Was it it might have been actually this race?
It was a Coke 600.
Was it? Okay, I was going to say
you had like 392 out of 400 laps.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch that. I was, like you said earlier, I was about to sleep on the couch. I mean, it's cool to see guys like that dominate, but again, with this car, once they're in clean air, it seems like they can do that as long as the car hooks up, right? But yeah, I mean, it's commendable. I mean, there's not much more to say than that.
Except for one. I don't know what this is. And the thing is, it's crazy. But I'm saying because it's crazy because he can't seem to have a finished show for it. But everybody gets stuck in dirty air late in a run except the 12. And no one, and I would like to know what they found, because if you're able to run on the bottom and make passes at Darlington on the seam, like they're standing still, I don't know what they found in the camber to make those tires just not fall off. But it's insane how fast he is, seemingly everywhere where you have to save tires, and has nothing to show for it.
Yeah, it's not nothing to show for it. He got his first top 5 at Darlington in his career, so
He's had the fastest car like 5 times this year and has like a top 5 to show for it, but or 2.
But yeah, so coming out of Darlington, Denny Hamlin is your winner for the second time. Again, Chris, we were so dead wrong about him.
Dead wrong.
It was looking like I think Cam had said either right before Homestead or right afterwards, this is a stretch where if he didn't get going, you'd be concerned. Well, he just ripped off 2 wins.
Yep, not concerned anymore about Denny Hamlin, I don't think.
No, and even the other car, Ty Gibbs, gets his first top 10 of the season. I believe it's his first top 10.
Yeah, it is.
And Seabell. Wait, did all these cars finish in the top 10?
Not Briscoe.
No, where's Briscoe?
Briscoe
28. Ugh.
Yeah.
He must have got buried in that Keselowski caution, because he was up front he's not up front, but he was in the mix for a lot of that race.
No, he dropped anchor. He was, because I remember it was stage 1 or stage 2 where him and Gibbs, both their tires just like shut off and they fell back. Once that happened, he never got back from that. Gibbs was able to find his way back, but he never could.
As for our favorite drivers, I'll always try to make a note of this just so we can discuss our day. I had the lowest at P35. Had the P10 in this at the end of the second stage, but like I said, he hit the wall, broke a toe link, and that was that. Going up the list, I believe Bubba Wallace would be next at P21. Had a really strong day, finished P2 in stage 1. I believe he got buried under that caution that I was talking about as well.
He fell off hard the second stage. It really, honestly, it was just the first stage that he ended. He was great, and like it was early in the second stage. Mike Joy's like, "Oh, we're about to have a new leader with Bubba about to pass," and then he just thank you, and then it just turned into a tractor, and just never saw him again until the event incident at the very end.
Yeah, and the Kyle Larson Kellogg's curse continues as I think it's like 3 straight spring races. He's had one of those Kellogg schemes and just wrecks out. This one a little bit more sudden than usual. He wrecks out like lap 3. Goes to the shop.
4. Yeah.
4.
Goes to the shop for 160 laps, comes back out, and does a really good job of staying out of the way up until the 2 laps to go. And Reddick hits the wall, Larson checks up, and Bubba's got nowhere to go but right up his ass and sends him to ultimately the same place where he wrecked. But after that, we get to, I believe, Chase Elliott. Yes, P8. Solid day, Chris?
Solid day. I'll take it. I mean, solid's not going to win you a championship.
You're hoping for more at this point of the season, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because solid's not going to win you a championship in this points format. You need wins. So I'd like to see him competing more for wins. We might see a round of 8 appearance again. Woo.
Ryan Blaney finishes P5. Finally has a little bit of something to take home for his efforts, but obviously not the finish that he probably deserved. So either way, I had a really bad day. We'll hope to get that better at Bristol. But before we get there, let's talk about our drivers of the week and our terrorists of the week. Let's start off with our drivers. I'll start it off because I feel like this could be a common theme. William Byron gets the nod for me for leading as many laps as he did.
Yeah, you can go ahead and check me off of Byron too. I mean, I know it's an easy choice, but dude just killed the field for a majority of the race. So, I mean, best car, give me Byron.
BR, did anybody else impress you?
Ryan Blaney. I mean, with all due, that was true belt to ass at the end, and he deserved the win. He got screwed. He got screwed again. He should have like 2, maybe 3 wins by this point. He honestly has been the fastest car this season until this point, and he has just comedically bad luck. So I'll go with him.
Cam, where do you fall?
I was going to say Blaney too, but not to disparage Byron. He was incredible, but like I have not seen with this car at any point in a race that differential between how fast he was and the rest of the field at the end of that race. I mean, the second place car might as well have not been moving when he passed him, and I don't know what that was, and I don't know what they figured out, because any of these tracks where you have to manage your tires, he just on the long run it's light years, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what they did, but he's figured something out with that. Maybe it'll pay off at Bristol if they bring that tire again. I'm not sure which tire they're bringing, but
Yeah.
But for the record, you're going with Blaney here?
yeah.
So Byron and Blaney, perfect split. You guys get to share the award. Maybe you guys can meet at Thanksgiving. Never mind. Terrorist of the week. I'm going with the Brad Keselowski wheel ring caution. That thing was at the deepest ends of the infield. Nobody was going there unless they wrecked. I feel like they could have gotten away with finishing that stage 2 and letting it play out as is instead of throwing the caution and kind of ruining a lot of guys' day. So I'm going to go with that. Not Brad's fault. That's going right up to NASCAR. But if we wanted to put it down to a specific moment, that was it. BR, who's your terrorist of the week?
I need you to pull up a picture. Greg Biffle for that outfit.
I remember. Stand by.
Yeah, I do not know. Shout out to Greg Biffle, but I don't know what you were cooking here with this one.
Which chat did you? Oh, here it is.
It was in the. Yeah.
Present. Share screen. Window.
That's one of those shirts you go and find at the flea market that has been worn, and they're like, "Oh, this is vintage."
That with the John Cena jorts, I don't know what I don't know what went through his brain.
I don't know how old that is.
I respect the confidence because I would not have the faith in myself to pull this off.
What's funny too is I'm pretty sure dude went and changed into that after he did all his like pre-race requirements and stuff, because he was like the pace car driver or got to take the pace car around, so he went and changed into his jorts and his 16 cutoff after all that.
Cam, what's your terrorist of the week?
Kyle Larson, because like, what was Buddy doing at any point in this race? Like he wrecks himself on lap 4 because that seems to be Kyle Larson anymore. Either he's race winning fast or he's spinning all day, and then comes out 160 laps down. I think zones out a while, realizes Reddick like tapped the wall, got scared, and hit the brakes, and just ruins the end of the race. So yeah, Kyle Larson.
Chris? I'm going to go with kind of similar to you, but I'm going to go with an area of the track, the exit of turn 2, because that's where Larson lost it. That's where Barry lost it after his wreck. So we're just going to go with the exit of turn 2 this week.
No clear winner for this week's terrorist of the week. We all come up with something different. But yeah, there's plenty of interesting things to go around for sure. Before we leave Darlington, does anybody have any final thoughts? Anything we didn't touch?
Nah.
All right, we're headed into Bristol, everybody. Before we get into our expectations, we're going to go into our DraftKings segment. We're going to go through the matchups and hopefully give you some insight on how to make some money here. Now, they're all minus odds, and maybe you can parlay this into something. At Bristol spring race, no more dirt, thank God. 2 years in a row of that. We love to see it. The first matchup is Chase Elliott versus William Byron.
Give me Elliott just because I mean I'm an Elliott fan, but I feel like maybe he's a little better here than Byron. Maybe I haven't really looked deeply into the stats.
I got the averages in front of me here. Chase Elliott is better than Byron. Since February 2022 on the concrete, not counting the dirt. Chase Elliott's average finish is a 4.8. William Byron's is a 16.
Oh.
But in recent races, let's just take a look what they did last year. Elliott finished 2nd in the fall and 8th in the spring. As for William Byron, he finished 17th and 35th. So Chase Elliott, as far as history here, does have a pretty solid edge.
Sure.
I mean, this is quietly one of his best tracks, and Byron does not have a lot of previous success here.
Yeah, I will go with Chase Elliott as well. Up next is Ryan Blaney versus Christopher Bell.
Blaney.
Has Bell really ever been that great here? I don't recall. So I'm
going to go with the 4th best average finish here.
Does it? Maybe just because he's never like contending necessarily for the win that I don't remember. But I mean, I don't know. Is there any word on what tire they're bringing? Are they bringing that monstrosity they brought last spring, or are they bringing the one they bring to Martinsville?
If they bring the monstrosity they brought last spring, I'm rolling with Josh Berry because I feel him or Denny Hamlin. I feel like are the best tire managers. Maybe Blaney, them top 3 there.
I don't know what magic they got on those tires in the 12 team right now because it doesn't even make sense.
Stu Grant, Goodyear's general manager of Global Race Tires. We had an interesting couple of races last season at Bristol. What we found was the track prep can really impact the racing on the concrete surface, and the track will be prepared with the PJ1 again for this race. The bottom line is Bristol is one of the most exciting tracks on the NASCAR circuit with its high banks and 15-second laps around the mile-and-a-half speedway. Okay, so you're not telling me which tire you're bringing. Good.
Thank you.
I assume they're not bringing that like sawdust tire they brought the first time because they didn't bring it the second time. So I assume that's gone now. But
Probably.
either way, I'm going with Blaney between the two.
Yeah, give me
They're
both.
saying that they're bringing the same tire as September 23. And they're going to
Okay.
have wet weather stuff because there might be some weather in the area.
Wait, they're not what? The wet weather tire's not supposed to be for Bristol. They're bringing the wet weather tires
That's interesting.
because of
I
the
didn't
banks.
think-
Because of the
yeah.
banks. Yeah.
Oh, I'm retarded. Brings white lettered. No, it says wet's right there. Yeah. Goodyear will bring its 18-inch wet weather radial tires to Bristol for the NASCAR Cup cars.
That's interesting.
It's just because of the banking. I always figured they.
Wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Oh well. I mean, they'll never race in them. They'll probably just use them to clear the water off the track.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I'm going Christopher Bell as well. Ross Chastain versus Chris Buescher.
Give me Busher.
I agree.
for sure.
Yeah.
Buescher has the 5th best average finish, and he's got a win. Here on the Bristol Concrete, Ross Chastain has yet to collect the top 5 since February 2022. All right, Ty Gibbs versus Rowdy Bush.
Gibbs has been sneaky decent here.
I mean, Kyle Busch
Um,
might be the best Bristol racer in the history of the world, but that car is probably
Big-
going to suck.
You took the words
He's got
right
the
out of my mouth.
38th best
Yeah.
average finish since February of 2022. Kyle Busch.
Like, I'm going to pick Gibbs because that car's probably going to suck. It's
Oh my
unfortunate.
God.
but-
Kyle Busch since September of 2022. He had an engine failure in September of 2022, and he finished 34th, but he finished P3 and P5 in his last year at Joe Gibbs Racing. Since being at RCR on the concrete at Bristol, P20, P25, P25. Led a whole 5 laps.
If you ever want evidence that it's RCR's fault, he sucks.
Yes.
No stage finishes whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, in 3 races here, he has a P5, a P9, a P15, and he has a P35 in his one stint with 2311 in September of 2022, where he didn't finish because of steering. But he was really good here in the spring last year.
Yeah. Give me Gibbs.
Gibbs.
I agree. Denny Hamlin versus Kyle Larson. They've won the last 2 Bristol races here. I'll
On current
take
form-
Larson, but it's close. It's
on
really
current form,
close.
Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, give me Larson, but again, it's close. I'm with Caleb. It's close, really close.
Let me know who finishes better in qualifying, and that'll give me a better idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I'll take a Hamlin.
2 Joe Gibbs racers going 3 in a row. That'd be something. All right, last one: Joey Logano versus Chase Briscoe.
Logano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I know we all keep wanting to make Briscoe happen, but he
Yeah.
won't seem to make it happen for himself.
Would you guys like to know which one of these 2 drivers has a worse average finish in the last 5 Bristol races between Logano and Briscoe?
It's probably Logano.
Logano has yet to collect even a top 20.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah, but
there are
I
2
feel like-
accidents,
I was
but
gonna say
P22, P28 last year.
because I know the one time was that weird Bristol race in the fall where everybody's right front tire was blowing off and he was like the first victim of it. But
He finished P3 in stage 2 of the spring race last year, but finished P28 in the fall race last year. Briscoe, on the other hand, in Stewart Haas equipment. So P8, P13, P27, P14. I'll take Briscoe.
Looks
I
like a
want to
battle.
go Briscoe, but I've went Briscoe in the past and it's not panned out. So
Like he should have been. He should have worked. He should have been faster yesterday or Sunday. So I don't know.
Alrighty, that was your DraftKings Sportsbook segment. Hopefully, if the Belly Up website gets back up, Chris and I will have a little bit more in depth. We missed last week for sure.
last week.
Did we miss the
Yep.
week before?
No, we got the last week before, but we didn't get last week.
Fair enough. All right, so hopefully we have something for you for Bristol. All right, the race at hand. Chris, what are you expecting?
I think you probably, well, I mean, depending on how the tire wears and things like that, I think you're going to probably see a lot of what you saw at Darlington. I don't know if it'll be quite the dominance, or it very well could be, but that's what we've come to kind of see on these tracks with this next-gen car. I hope it's a little better, but longer runs, pit strategy, that's probably what you're going to see.
Cam, anything else to add?
I mean, yeah. The last time we were here, Larson actually finished a Byron-like performance. So it's hard. This racetrack's just not built for this car, but it's unfortunate. But yeah, you're really just hoping for someone doesn't run away, and you can see some actual competition in the front.
BR, anything else?
No.
All right, then you can start off with your pick.
All right. We will take. This will be the week. Ryan Blaney finally gets his win this week.
Ryan Blaney. All right, Cam, who's your pick?
That I was considering doing what he just did, but apparently when I pick him, it just invites the ridiculous luck. So I'm gonna go a little bit off paradox, I guess. And I'm gonna take Chris Buescher.
I took him last week. Didn't quite pan out for me. Chris, where are you going?
Give me Bell. 4 races, 359 laps led, top 10 in all of them. So, yeah, I think he gets a win finally at Bristol.
And I have no idea where I want to go with this. God, I don't know. Kyle Larson, I guess. He'll win the pole, and then he'll just kill the field.
My head's telling me to take the 11. I just can't. It's just three in a row. It's just hard for me to put my.
But most of all, I'm hoping for my boy Alex to get back on track because there's been 2 stinkers in a row. First one, obviously, loose wheel at Martinsville has to come back and getting through the field, not happening. And then at Darlington, breaks the toe link. That is what it is. It was a hot start. It's cooled off.
If he doesn't hit the wall, he probably finishes top 10. He looks like he's coming along there before he does hit the wall. So,
yeah, that he benefited greatly from that Keselowski caution. That kind of bungled a lot of guys into that top 10 who weren't quite having the best day. So he benefited from that, but obviously couldn't stay off the wall, just like he couldn't stay off the wall at Homestead. But really, fingers crossed, hoping he gets right back on track. But yeah, Chris, hopefully the website's back up so we can get our stuff out. Otherwise, what else you got coming?
Should have a new episode of Mine and the Wife's podcast this week. It'll be dropped later on, and then like you said, if the website's back up, I'll have my power rankings out. If not, I'll drop at least an updated list. May not be any reasoning behind it like normal, but we'll get a list out there at least.
BR, Cam, anything to say to the fine people at home before we close this show?
No.
Damn. No pleasantries from these guys. Tough as nails. Alrighty, folks. Thank you for watching Short Pit. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the show for when we post stuff when the website's back online. Otherwise, you turn the notification bell on, you comment, you tweet at me and Chris and argue with us. That's also fine. It's been a while since somebody told us that we have to wait till Cody Ware is in the is at Hendrick Motorsports before we judge him.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
Is
think
that
something
straight up
entertaining.
what the dude said?
He said that we cannot judge Cody Ware fairly until he's in a real car.
Yep.
And I'm like, there's a reason he's not in a real car.
Yeah, I mean the only reason he's even in the car to begin with is his last name is in the racing team.
Yeah, and they might be without a charter in 26 if this lawsuit goes the way it is.
Dude, put David Starr in the 5 before you decide he's bad, okay?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Come on.
You're telling me that we judged Danica before we put her in the prime 48? Like, give me a break.
Just a joke. Come on, that's a joke of a take.
Unbelievable. But we're here for those. We're here to interact with those.
Yep.
And
Anytime.
we'll be back next week after Bristol. And then what? What's the race after that? Do we get into Talladega?
No, it's a week off, and then it's
week off.
Oh, East. Is it
Yes.
Easter already?
Yeah.
Easter's in Sunday after next.
Screw that.
I mean, already we're damn near through April.
Yeah.
Insane.
Unbelievable. But all right. We will see you all after Bristol. Thanks for watching. Yeah.